A family of few, each having their own personalities and their own method of going about a day. A usual family you must think, right? Well, not really. Without further ado, let's dive into this one.
A family of 5 is seen doing their usual chores, spending time together on the beach, watching a film together every Friday, and once a year, dreaded New Year's party as Tim mentioned. Everyone seems to be having a good time in the party. Tim, a shy guy, Katie on the other hand, seems to have found a guy to kiss for 12 a.m. Everyone kisses. Tim wakes up the next morning, hungover and ashamed. Katie enters the room and tells him that Dad wants to see him. Tim, all dressed up now, enters his dad's, James. Dad tells him about this family secret, that men of this family can travel back in time. Initially to Tim, it all sounds bizarre and he has some follow-up questions about it. Dad also makes him aware that he cannot change events like killing of Hitler, etc. Upon inquiring about how this happens, Dad explains him the process about how to go do it. That is, by going in a dark place like cupboard, etc., clench fists, zoom in at clinching of fist by his dad, think of the moment you want to go back, and voila, you are there. Pissed off, Tim walks out of the room to try it. He goes back to his room inside the cupboard and does the process, opens his eyes, and finds himself at the New Year's Eve. He does what he didn't the last time. He kisses Polly, comes back in the room, in the cupboard, fist clench, and comes back to present.
Does Mum know? Not a whistle. Strange.
His dad tells him about the pros and cons of time travel, and what it did to the family individuals in the past. After thinking hard, use a thinking hard gif maybe.
To be honest, I suppose, at the moment, it would be just great if it could help me get a girlfriend.
Dad is completely flabbergasted to see this, but love was everything to Tim. Katie's friend Charlotte comes to their house. Tim for sure has a liking towards her, uses time travel to his advantage to woo Charlotte, but it doesn't seem to work at the end. It was a lesson learnt for him that all the time travel in the world cannot help you find love. We see the footage of Charlotte leaving in the car. Next, we see Tim's time to leave come. Family is a bit upset, but that's what the need of the hour is. Tim's journey to London and to find a girlfriend continues. He reaches Harry's house, who is a playwright friend of his dad.
What the fuck do you want?
Harry, quite a daunting character at first, but eases up on the kids slowly and gradually. Tim starts his life in London finally, though by becoming a lawyer, he didn't help his case of finding a girlfriend as the place he worked at was full of men anyways. 6 months go by, and the life was monotonous for Tim. Eat a slice of bread and work for the law company. Just when life took a turn for him, Tim goes on a blind date event with Jay, a place where there is no light and opposite sex are paired blindly.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Mary.
I'm Tim. Mary's my mother's name, actually.
Oh, does it suit her?
Sort of. Although she's sturdy, so Bernard might have been a better fit.
Finally, they meet outside of the event place. A moment of shyness and affection towards each other. Tim takes Mary's number, and they both bid each other goodbye for the time being. A happy Tim walks to his house, thinking of all the beautiful things that are to happen with Mary in the future. But that is to be short-lived as he enters the house to an upset and angry Harry whose play didn't go as per plan. Tim takes it upon him to help him out by going back in time and to be with Harry. Finally, the actors play their part at the best, thanks to the cue given by Tim by being backstage with the placards. Harry is a happy man now. Later, he searches for Mary's name in his phone, only to be surprised by the fact of it not being in his phone book. He rushes to the blind date event place and inquires about her, but is only disappointed at the end. The next morning, while at the breakfast table with Harry, Tim notices a Kate Moss advertisement on the newspaper and suddenly remember that Mary had mentioned about her on the blind date night back too. Tim rushes towards the Kate Moss event in the hope of finding Mary there. After waiting and munching on snacks for long, we see Katie accompanying him there since Katie has been sacked from her job. Chit-chat happens, and there she was. Right in front of Tim stands Mary. Things don't go as planned for Tim as Mary doesn't recognize Tim, thanks to Tim travel. Mary gets a little weirded out Tim's approach as he seems know a thing or two about her. Although at his second try, Tim manages to be friends with Mary and Mary's friend Joanna. They all go out on a coffee date where Tim learns that Mary has a boyfriend named Rupert now, who also joins them later. Tim is upset about it but asks detective-like questions. Well, his intentions are clear. Get enough information to go back in time where the party happened, where these two met, and stop it from happening. And next thing you know, that's exactly what happens. Tim manages to go the specific address that Joanna had mentioned. Inside, he meets Joanna and is told that he a friend of Mary's. Later, he finds Mary contemplating on a small balcony. Tim tries to ask her out on a date, and as obvious as it becomes by now, he brings up Kate Moss topic again. Later, both leave to grab a bite, or as the British likes to call it, starters.
God, what a dickhead.
Yeah.
Great conversation at the restaurant doesn't with a lovely kiss outside of Mary's house. Mary's invites him in, a sensual moment, and both end up having sex. Well, not the best one as Tim thought, but a quick time travel gives him another opportunity, and one more, and the guy hits the spot this time. It's a beginning of a relationship for both of them. Lovely time is being spent by both together, from office to kisses to subway travels. It puts a smile on your face to see an almost perfect start to a relationship so far. We come to a point where Mary tells Tim that her parents are about to reach their apartment. Tim is taken aback by this news. Both starts cleaning the house. Parents arrive. An awkward intro happens about,
This is Tim.
Hello, sir. Ma'am.
Hi.
but nothing that a time travel can't help. Next, we see Tim and Rory in theater where the performance has already happened. As they are about to leave, Tim sees Charlotte there. Tim decided to meet her outside with her friend. Just like last time, the meet doesn't go too well, and time travel doesn't help his case either. A point in life where you understand that some things are just not meant to be, unless the destiny wants it to happen. Later, Charlotte notices Tim and his friend outside the theater. A brief introduction between them, before both the parties are on their way. A few seconds later, Charlotte comes running back to Tim, asking if he would like to have dinner with her. Tim says yes to it without giving a second thought, ignoring Rory as if he never existed. The goes rather well, and eventually Charlotte gives enough signal to Tim for a cozy night afterwards. Initially, Tim seems interested, and walks to her house as well, before it hits him that he has a beautiful partner waiting for him. He runs back home in excitement. As he reaches the house, he sees that Mary is asleep, though that doesn't stop him from asking Mary to marry him. A bit of time travel help again, just to smoothen the proposal out, and eventually gets resounding yes from her. And of course, sometimes a bit of smartness is all you need instead of time travel to turn off the radio. Tim and Mary arrives at the lake house. Mary is received well by the family. A day well spent with, of course, some good homemade tea. Tim also sees Kit Kat in the house, realizing that she left London for good and has been there for a couple of weeks. At the dinner table the same day, Tim announces that both of them have decided to get married and also that they're gonna have a baby.
That's wonderful news!
After some discussion and games back in London home,
We have to decide tonight.
What?
Everything. So here's the deal. I will take off one item of clothing for every decision you make. Where would you like to get married?
Home. Oh my God.
Best man. Let's do this.
the day of wedding comes. It finally happens. A sweet and simple one at that. A rainy one too. Mary is at the hospital holding her baby. Time passes. Responsibilities for the parents increases as well. After all, no one can prepare you to be a parent of a child. Ultimately, you learn with time and a bit of guidance. It's the baby's birthday. All the family members and friends are present there, though Kit Kat is not to be seen. Bell rings and it's Jimmy. Even Jimmy isn't aware of Kit Kat and reveals that they had an argument earlier. Kit Kat meets with an accident. Tim and Mary runs to the hospital. Kit Kat's face is all bruised, but she is okay. Tim uses time travel and gets Kit Kat to the birthday party himself. Later, Tim and Mary discusses that Kit Kat isn't well and are worried about her. Tim talks to her on the beach and then reveals that he can travel back in time. He takes Katie in the dark space and takes her back in time. They come back to the New Year's Eve. Kit Kat ends up smacking Jimmy in the face this time after realizing what a sleazeball he can be. James gives a smile seeing Tim and Kit Kat running upstairs. He knows what has happened. As both of them come back to present, Kit Kat is made aware of the fact that she is with Jay. Tim comes back home to Mary and is excited to see his baby. As he picks the baby up, it's a different child. Tim goes back in time to ask his dad about it. Tim is made aware that the exact sperm is not accounted for in time travel since he went back in time before the child was born and altered an event. Tim goes back in time and let Katie's accident happen this time around. Now, Posey, the baby is back in the picture again. Not sooner than later, There were 4 of them. Another baby was born. Life was good. A phone call comes, and a sad family news lands on them. Tim's dad has been diagnosed with cancer. They come back to the lake house in Cornwall. A father and son talk takes place. James tells him that it is mostly due to smoking, but that cannot be undone since it started much before they were born, and many things will be altered if that was to be done in the first place. A moment of sadness and reflection on life for the son and the father. James takes this opportunity to tell the most important secret. Part 1 of it was to just get on with the ordinary life and not try to change it in any way. Live the problems, tackle them, and just dust off and move on. Then the second part of it came in. James told him to live every day again, almost exactly the same. The first time with all the tensions and worries that stop us noticing how sweet he world can be. Some days, of course, though, you only want to go through once. The day of the funeral comes. Everyone gathers in the living area, but Tim wants some time. It's a travel back in time to see his father again. Tim makes James aware of where he is coming from. The big day. James reads out Dickens to him. Time goes by. Much after James' death, Mary talks with Tim about having a 3rd child. Tim knows what this means. Saying yes to the future means saying goodbye to Dad forever. He finally says yes to Mary. Mary is now seen pregnant with the child, much closer to giving birth. Tim knows it's time. He tells James all about it. Emotions flows between father and the son.
Is there anything at all I can do? Is there anything you want to do?
And all James wants is a quick little walk. They go back in time. A blast from the past between father and the son. It's when James and a young Tim go the beach, laugh and play out as if it was their last day, which it is. Life moved on for the Lake family. Kit Kat ends being a mother of a child. Tim also learns the lesson of his travels in time, a step ahead of his father. He lives the day as if he has come back to this day deliberately to enjoy it, as if it was the full and final day of his life. A day is the past, present, and the future. Treat it the way you want to. If you like our content, don't forget to show your support by subscribing to the channel. For more incredible recaps, check out the videos on your screen.